Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my precious pack, and welcome back once more to VEGA Conflict. And we're going to be going after the Umbra Aerico targets as an auto-farming fleet. And I mean truly auto-farming. The only thing you have to do in the fights is just engage or disengage, or, well, not really engage or disengage, decide which attack mode you want for the MERS. And it is important. If you not want the MERS to die unless they're close to your Aericos, so you can make full use of the Blight Nebula without actually having to move into it, so it's just a strong chance of it happening, you'll want to be in defensive mode. But to begin a fight with, you're going to want to be in offensive, and you're going to want to change the attacks and things like that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the skirmisher targets, they're fairly easy if you have a good high-end fleet, but the problem is they're time-consuming. And I was looking through each of my ships, I was testing them in one-on-one fights to see which ones made it the farthest. And the ship that I had that actually made it the farthest against the skirmisher targets last time around was my single Mark 6 Aerico and the MER. And I used level 1 MERS and things like that. No, I'm not going to show the fitting this time because I'm going to completely build the fleet out, and I'll show you what they do in the next monthly event against the skirmisher targets, because it is very important for what they do. And what I did was I piloted the Aerico to begin with, and the only thing I majorly did was just focus fire and allow the AI to do the rest of the work. Well, you don't actually have to focus fire, because they'll attack the closest target to them, and that means they'll go after the large groups, and the MERS help reduce the damage they take, but it also ramps up their damage so they can destroy the targets much more quickly. And that is going to be something we want moving forwards, because right now the initial season start for the Tier 8 for the upgrade materials, it's been rough. And unless you had a Dreadnought or pure Elite fleets and didn't mind taking repair time, it sucks. And if you have an Orator, you can farm them using a slower tactic, primarily utilizing the Zealots while you close in on them to destroy them with the Orator itself. However, not everyone has access to high-level Dreadnoughts or high-level fleets, so this is going to be the cheap alternative. But again, it's going to be a high-level fleet, but it's going to be a primarily auto-farming fleet, with the intention of just allowing you to switch between offensive and defensive attack modes depending on the situation. And after a certain while, I'm going to be testing them. I think it's probably 2 or 3 times you only have to be active in the fight towards the beginning of the fight. After that, you can switch them all into defensive, so the MERS will die near the Aericos, and you can go on to other fights. So you can start a fight, you only have to manage the first portion of the fight, then after that you can go to any other fight. And another thing that I was doing was my Aericos, I have them built up to be damage resistant to every damage type with the exception of plasma. And because these are all alien damage targets and things like that that we deal with in the skirmishers, not what you're seeing in the background, these are still the Aerico targets, you'll be allowed to actually farm them because there's no plasma damage in those targets. And the reason I'm not showcasing those targets is because I want to focus on the Aericos. So, now you know the point of what I'm going to talk about and say. The reason I chose the Aericos was, again, as I was testing through the different fights, they were the ones that were most capable of farming, and it's because of the MERS. Despite my general thoughts towards the MERS health and damage values, the fact that they can still take a hit and distract the target is a great help to the player. And if you play it carefully enough, you can fly through the fields with them, but in this case, since we're going to be playing a full auto, there's a strong chance you're going to be flying through the fields anyways. So the MER type is irrelevant, because you only need them for the field, and the level is irrelevant, and as I use level 1, I primarily have weapons fittings and armor fittings on the Aericos. And they make full use of it. And the reason that I use the Aericos this way is because so far I've had no issues with them losing extremely large amounts of health, especially when you add Fleet Commander Victoria Own into them and things like that. They just rampantly scale up in terms of durability. And they are the most auto-friendly fleet that I can think of, because the mixture of the Aericos and the MERS allows them pardon me, it allows them to very, very easily take a target out. And all you have to do is, again, towards the beginning of the fights against skirmishers, well, I'll actually do dedicated videos after I have the full fleet of them, but for now I'm farming stuff up. But the idea is take the Aericos in full auto and just move between offensive and defensive modes with the sole intention of just bouncing the aggression between the targets, as well as keeping your MERS close to you so when they explode, in most of the cases where you're already near the target, you'll have no issues protecting yourself or getting the ships to move into the Blight Nebula. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, the next video I'll be focusing on is most likely going to be a Dreadnought video, as you're all going to see. But that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and wait for the video end, and I'll greet you all again once more towards the end. This is all for now.
Target located. Proceeding. Underway. Course laid in. Locking coordinates. Proceeding. Underway. Locking coordinates. Enemy spotted. Proceeding. Course laid in. Locking coordinates. Relocating. Locking coordinates. Target identified. Relocating. Enemy spotted. Locking coordinates. Locking coordinates. Relocating. Proceeding. Underway. Locking coordinates. Target relocating. Locking coordinates. Target identified. Course laid in. Enemy spotted. Relocating. Locking coordinates. Course laid in. Relocating. Proceeding. Course laid in. Target locking coordinates. Target identified. Course laid in. Underway.
Welcome back yet again, everybody. And that's it. As I said, the next video for the remaining portion of the decimation is going to be focused on Dreadnoughts, because you're going to want Dreadnoughts to advance as well. And you're going to be utilizing Aericos to auto-farm and things like that, so you can primarily focus on other fights. So you can just get auto-farming up and just utilize the time you put into the game as efficiently as possible. The other thing for the more active players and for the ones that want to just enhance the number of targets they can hit and things like that, so while the auto-farming fleet is doing their thing, you can take manual control of a fleet of Dreadnought and other ships and stuff like that, with the sole intention of just increasing the number of targets you can farm. And with that, I have to say that I'll talk more about that in the next video, because it'll also be the specified targets for what to focus on, what I focused on, weapons fitting for Dreadnoughts, things like that within the specialized unique traits that each one has. Well, not quite traits, but unique damage types that each one has, and what weapons you'll want for them. Or what weapons I use currently, what weapons I farmed for, with the intention of just further upgrading what they already have. But that's going to be it, everybody. If you have any suggestions, or if you have any target recommendations for lower levels, especially those that have Venom fleets, auto-farming fleets, things like that that already exist, the insta-fleets, go ahead and leave them below in the comment section. I'll most likely pin them with the intention of just encouraging people to farm with the cheap fleets to get some better stuff, things like that. But with that said, be safe out in the void, everybody. Happy hunting, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.